Well, Barbara, get well, and I hope you. Thank you for joining us this morning. So Barbara's going to listen in. For those of you who don't know me, I think you do. I'm John Rakowski. Thank you for joining us today. We do this every Monday. We try to bring value to the start of your week by sharing some ideas. This will not go over an hour, I promise. I'm gonna end it at 59, so we're all good. Karen's my business partner. Karen and I have worked together for many, many years, and we're all colleagues and friends here. So Christina, I'm not sure where we met, Christina. I think you maybe when I was running Remaxes, and Christina is with Cutco Knives, right? And a recent realtor. So I think it's a brilliant move. And what I like about what Christina brings to the table is, look, we all scramble about, hey, what should we get our customers who deserve something at a closing? Something up to remember us by. And I encourage all of our agents and all of my past realtors with my companies, like, get them something that they're going to use, that they find value in, and that they're going to use forever. A bottle of wine goes overnight, right, and gets tossed out. Are you going to be remembered for that? Most likely not. But something like what Christina can bring for your customers will last a lifetime, right? Christina, why don't you take a few minutes?
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me on today. Like you mentioned, my name is Christina Grudge. I work with Cutco Closing Gifts and 360 Business Growth. So what I really do is strategic gifting. I want to help keep your name top of mind through every transaction forever. Because that's the business we are in, right? That's why we network, we prospect, we Facebook Live, so we can stay top of mind. And a little numbers fact for you. According to the NAR, 85% of your clients like you. They want to work with you again, which is great. But the sad part is about 15% of clients remember their agent's name 2 years after the initial transaction, which is crazy low. And I found that there's a long-term branding opportunity that comes at the end of the transaction that a lot of agents miss, and that's your closing gifts. What do you all typically think of when you think of closing gifts? If you want to unmute yourself or put it in the chat.
A gift card.
I think it all depends on the customer, the price point. I think it depends on the area. But I think the key to what you can offer, or what or Cutco, is that it's a reminder. It's something every day. Where is the closing gift we're giving, or the service provider we're providing? Does that remind them of you every day? So
exactly.
Yeah. Go ahead, Christine, or anybody else who wants to chime in.
Any other closing gifts that you typically think of? I heard gift. Go ahead, gift baskets. And that's exactly right. That's what I usually hear is gift cards, gift baskets, wine, Ring doorbells, home warranties, which are nice. I mean, if it's free, it's for me, right? Like, I'm not going to complain about getting free stuff, but where are those items 5, 10, 15 years down the road when they're going to buy and sell again? They're gone. They're consumables. They ate it, they drank it, they put it on a shelf and forgot about it. And that's what I really help you do, is I help you put a system in place, and I use a product called Cutco. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of Cutco, used Cutco, or given it as a gift. Look at all those beautiful, intelligent people. I love it. Awesome. If you're not familiar with Cutco, what it is, it's American-made cutlery that's guaranteed forever. We put your name, logo, and phone number on it. What this does is a couple of things for you as an agent. First thing it does is it gives you a tax benefit. As you know, you can only legally write off $25, which isn't very much, especially when most agents are spending about $75 to $300 on a closing gift. But what's great with Cutco, since we put your name, logo, and phone number on it, you can write it off as advertisement. So that makes it 100% tax deductible.
That's interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
The more tax write-offs, the merrier, right?
Right.
Wow.
Yes. So advertisement. So that makes it 100% tax deductible legally, which is great. Second thing it does for you is it keeps your name top of mind. Raise your hand if you've used a knife in the past 48 hours. Yeah, probably even this morning. So how many people use knives? Everybody. And even if your clients say like, I don't cook, they're still using a knife on average 4 times a week. So you're getting 200 to 300 marketing touches a year, every single year from your one closing gift. So talk about powerful top of mind awareness. And most of all, there's a system in place. I know you're all like, but Christina, I love running to Home Goods the day before closing, throwing a gift basket together. No, I hope you have closing gifts on hand. That way it's easy for you to grab and go. I try to make it where this is something you think about once or twice a year versus before every transaction too. I also do promotional items. So whether it's pens, hand sanitizers, koozies, umbrellas, you name it, let me know. I can help you find and brand all of that too.
Wonderful.
So a couple of things you're going to look for in a gift. It should be durable and useful. It should be branded tastefully. And most of all, there should be a system in place so you can focus on income producing activities too. I want to help you get entered into a raffle because we all know the only thing better than Cutco is free Cutco. So open your phone to a new text message. So this is how I'm going to have you enter into the raffle. So go ahead, open your phone to a new text message. In this message, you're going to put your first name, last name, and email. I'll give you my phone number in just a second. First name, last name, email. This will automatically get you entered into the raffle for a free piece of Cutco. If you're wanting more information on the closing gifts, just include the word realtor so I know to reach out to you. My phone number is 407-865-0076. Again, that's 407-865-0076. First name, last name, email, automatically entered into the raffle. Include the word realtor for more information. And I'll reach out to you for those that want more information. We can connect sometime this week over Zoom for just a couple of minutes to see kind of what works best for you and your business as well. Any questions?
Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
You didn't even have a script or anything.
No, I put my information in the chat just in case you missed it too.
Well, I think the most,
Yeah, that's great.
obviously you said a few powerful things there, but look, we're all looking for write-offs, right? And that's a brilliant piece of this. And so what can we get? I mean, can we get something decent for $100 or what's your price point for a gift?
Great question. So if you were looking around the $100 range, you would get a knife like this. Oops, let's see if I can get the lighting right. So this is one of our most commonly used knives, and that 100 includes the logo, the name, the phone number, all engraved on it, a box, the bow, and the shipping for you too.
Cool.
So it's a great tool that your clients are going to use daily and that they're going to be excited about and love and appreciate too.
Yeah. I'm not sure if this is funny or clever, but I think we should send a box of, for those who aren't, Rachel's the expert cook on this show, but I cut my fingers a lot. You got to be really careful, especially with good knives. That's the plus and the plus and minus of a good knife. They cut really well. They include fingertips, so we got to be careful. But I think
a dull knife is actually more dangerous than the sharp one.
Really?
Yes, because you're having to put more pressure on it, so you're more likely to cut yourself.
Oh, right. Well, our restaurateurs are nodding their head, Colleen and Rachel. So good. Well, Christina, Karen and I would love to get on a separate Zoom sometime with you to share, so we can share you with the team and the organization. Yeah. I think it's brilliant with what you're doing, and I'm glad you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Again, we want to bring some value to the group that comes in on Monday morning. I think it's a good idea, and we'll share your information with everybody. Okay.
I got a question for you, Christina.
Yes.
Hi. So I have a different background. The reason I know I've been with KW for a long time too. You guys do have the same kind of service. I know this for the longest time. Asian don't like to receive knives at closing gift. Do you have any other combinations besides knives?
Yes. So 2 things with that. We can do water bottles and boards, But what we actually include in all of our gifts, so usually I found that Asian culture doesn't like knives because of a superstition. So I include it. So I include it with all of the knives. It's called a penny card. Let's see if I can pull up a photo real quick where it breaks a superstition. And I have found even if they're really superstitious, they love it. They think it's super cool because of the card that's included with it. So you're able to give it to everybody too.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll send you a photo.
I was going to ask you, Rachel, if that was a superstition or if it was a feng shui item.
More of a superstition, yeah, because knife meant something else. There are certain things you don't give clocks or watches to somebody's birthday, which doesn't work in my own family, but comes to good friend, close friends, but just regular clients, they do have that culture of not receiving that. So I try to avoid. Yeah, I see that.
What's brilliant about what you just said is I'm sure we will all encounter an Asian customer in the future and we'll know not to send them knives.
Yeah.
Unless you use Cutco and then it includes a superstition card.
There you go.
Yeah, very good.
But I can send it to you to show you.
Yeah. Any other questions for Christina?
No, but I want to interject. I just want to say one thing. I think it's brilliant that we brought up the fact that there's other cultures. I mean, as our world gets smaller and smaller with the internet, and I learned this in my luxury training, because you're working with buyers or sellers of different cultures. If you really should delve into or kind of learn and understand, maybe not by asking them directly, but just kind of figure out or come to me and I can help you where the resources would be to help you understand what the traditions and things are. And Richard, who is Cuban, has taught me a lot of things recently in our one-on-ones, and I'm mentoring him right now. So it's very interesting. So that is very good. I'm glad that was brought up because I think it's important to understand the cultural differences of the people that you're working with.
Yeah, I never would have known that. So Rachel, I'm glad you happened to be here this morning to ask that question because we all learned something today, Brilliant. Yeah, thank you. Anybody else have a question or comment for Christina?
How long takes make those knives?
The turnaround time is about 2 to 4 weeks. We already have the EXP logo set up in our system, so that makes it quicker. So there's no digitalization for that. But that's what's nice about having the gifts on hand is you first wait that initial period and then you have them on hand so you don't have to think about it 2 to 3 weeks before closing. You're good to go.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, Christina, respectfully, I think we don't want to jinx things, let's say, and get that knife a month ahead of time prior to a closing. Most closes are going to happen in this market, but sometimes they don't. So, Yulia, you may want to just order the knife when it closes. It would be delivered in 2 to 4 weeks, and maybe give like a gift card. Expect something in a special surprise in the mail within 2 to 4 weeks. Okay. As my appreciation for you working. That's just my opinion. Okay. So
yeah, so there's both options with that. So I think kind of where you're going is just a reminder, we're putting your engraving on it. We're not you can put the client's name, but I would see most cases that you don't. So even if something were to happen with one closing, you already have on hand for another, or for a community raffle or for a referral gift. So that's another idea too.
Yeah. But I think the key to any gift like this is your name on it.
100%.
If you just had the company logo, they may not remember your name and number. So I think it's worth doing and delivering 2 to 4 weeks after.
Yeah, especially with your name and phone number on it. That's the most important key part on there.
Plus, it's a good way to keep in touch with your customer too.
Exactly. And I can help you come up with different follow-up touches. I also do sharpening events that you can invite your clients to.
Oh,
so
cool.
That's another value add that you can do too.
There you go, John. Sharpen them. Give knife event.
It's brilliant. I think it's a brilliant idea. I think
I love it.
And plus, it's your way of getting your customers together in a local environment to maybe sharpen knives and have a glass of wine. What's wrong with that, right?
Exactly. Another value add. It's always good to get them together too.
Well done. Well done. Anybody else for Christina? Awesome. Well, thank you again,
Perfect.
Christina. Make sure you, yeah, we're going to reach out and we'll get together and talk about other things. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me on today. I definitely appreciate it.
Stick around if you'd like. You've got a lot of wisdom in this room. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to have to turn my camera off because AC has been off for 5 days and maintenance people are about to be here, but I will listen in.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Karen, was there anything that that crossed your agenda this weekend or whatever your mind to talk?
Well, actually, sure. I'll say a few words. Obviously, we all know that the market's starting to shift. I'm speaking to a lot of agents across the country, and I'm hearing that it probably started about within the past 60 days. Everyone else who raise a hand if you've seen that.
Amen. Mm-hmm.
So, so I try and figure out things that I can say to give you value here. So I do a lot of research and listen to a lot of people that are leaders in the market industry. And one thing that stood out to me is this was a quote from someone: "You can't control the market. We can't control it. What we can control is what we do in that market and who you align with." So I would suggest for everyone, take a look around your sphere. Who are the top 5 people that you're aligning with? And if those people aren't going to help you, and I don't mean this in a derogatory or mean way, it's not like you can't align with them, but maybe you should invite some other people into your life to surround you business-wise. That's going to help you grow and work through this market that we're about to see. I don't think it's going to be as bad, obviously, as 2008, and I don't think anyone thinks it's going to be that bad, but we're going to see a shift. So your buyer's going to be like, "Oh, I don't want to go see that house. Mr. Buyer, I don't want you to see that house. Let's do one thing. Let's just go tour it. Go tour it with them. Just say, we're not going to buy. We're just going to look." Because the thing is, you got to get belly to belly with people, get them in the house initially, and then go to there, because it's your job to motivate them and get them to understand that this isn't a bad market. This is a good market. This is, there's no market that's bad. It's just different. There's no market that's bad. We're realtors. This is your business, your life. So again, you can't control the market, but you can control who you align with. And that's why I think this mastermind, John and I created it, because we knew the market was shifting. And I think this is a perfect place to, mastermind and be with people that are going to help you succeed.
Yeah. No, Karen, I agree completely. And a lot of what we do, or a lot of what customers see in a property, they have to see other properties to evaluate this property, and like what you mentioned, you may not want to buy this property, but let's go tour it. Now we see what's on the market. Let's compare apples to apples. And I agree with the slight shift in things. We all watch, those who are on this call, I'm sure, watching the market every day. You're looking at your neck of the woods. You're seeing what the inventory is doing or not doing. I think I still see a lot of stuff put out there that is overpriced, and that's why it's on the market for a little bit longer than normal. But still a great time to purchase. A lot of snowbirds coming to our area, Florida. We're blessed to be in Florida because there's people moving here every day from all over, and still a bargain. So I agree. Educate yourself on your, within your market area. Make sure you're the go-to person. Know the schools, know the flood zones, know all that stuff that make you the expert. So when somebody comes into an open house, you know all the answers, and it just builds credibility right off the bat.
Yeah, because we're entering a skill-based market. The market that we've been in the past 2 years, it wasn't skill-based, was it?
No.
Look at all the people that you didn't have to have a skill to be able to sell a house in the past 2 years. However, we're moving into that shift where now we're moving into a skill-based market. And what that means is you have to be the experts and have that value proposition more so than the agent next to you, or the agent that's in your market that isn't taking the time to, now that, we're getting a little bit of a double down on your trainings, double down on, your inventory, making sure you know what surrounds you, and in local restaurants, you go in, especially if you're doing an open house, because a lot of us do open houses for other realtors and they're not our listings. Make sure you understand what's surrounding that open house. Where are the restaurants? Where are the schools? Sorry, guys. Where are the parks? Where are the bike trails? Things like that. So, yeah, hopefully that helps.
Let's hear some from, how about Rachel? Why don't you comment? You've been in doing this for a long time. You have a different type of clientele with your investors. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Well, I think this is a little too slow for my pace, since we only got our license here about 7 months now, switching over. That was a great switch. Getting you guys help, or getting helped through the company, that was a really tremendous help, because I'm not sure how to navigate within. There's always someone tell you how to go about, but with this market I'm a little worried, because there's just tons of buyer just kind of wanted to wait around just to see where it need to be turned, maybe. So sometimes you can push, but the interest rate are going up. So depending on the need of each client, I think for me is just bringing what they need, what they want, very careful. So knowing all of that and finding their house right away. I know I had closing on Friday. These are the client that we were video on another closing of the house, and they drove by. So we, say hi, introduce ourselves, and after connecting with them for 2 months, and they, they were very iffy-ish, because they were like, okay, I went to so many open house, who should we use? So they ended up coming with us. And I think I showed 4 houses with them, and we settled on one, the last one.
That's fantastic. Think about from way back when we showed hundreds of homes for people for months and months, because there was just too much inventory. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, like you had a very key word there in connecting, and it's relationship building.
Good job.
We're going to work. Yeah, we're going to work with you once you connect with them. And your clientele is a little bit different, because you have a lot of investors. From an investor standpoint, maybe versus a homeowner standpoint is quite different, because, I do a lot of research like Karen does. And, I look at the numbers, and 55% of the people buying homes today are cash buyers. Well, what percent of those cash buyers are actually homeowners versus investors? I don't know what that number is, but the finance buyers, the homeowners, they're competing with these. So I don't see a huge drop in pricing at all. I think it may just not be what it used to be. For those who don't know, Tampa went up 33% last year. When you put that into perspective,
Crazy.
Normally it's 3 to 5%. Okay. On a normal market, 3 to 5% per year increase in property values. It went up 10 to 11 times. Okay. And a lot of that's the only reason that happened is because it was such a good value. All right. And it's still a good value compared to a lot of other places, a lot of other coastal areas, California, especially. So still a great time to buy. Rent properties are going up all over the place. We had a friend we had lunch with yesterday. They're increasing her rent $500 a month. That's absurd. And that's for an apartment complex. She went and begged them to say, look, take it up 100. But that's the position that the apartment complexes are in right now, because there's a waiting list to get into apartments. As you guys can all see, new apartments going up all over the place. So again, it's just educating yourself on the market. Like Karen said, take some time when you have some downtime to focus and re-energize yourself and do some training and get to know things differently. Always be the expert in your area. That's key, right?
All right. Who's got something to say? Who's got a problem we can solve?
Yeah.
So I have a question. Just seeing the last few closing with a couple of different, seller picks the title company, and settlement fees wise, is that an overall change, as in, $500 per seller? And I wasn't sure because I've been to the last two closing. I see the difference. I had a closing earlier in February and March, and that was a different closing settlement fee. Is that because right now everything is increasing on that settlement fee, so title company are charging more? I just wasn't sure.
So I'll give my opinion on that. The only thing that's a promulgated rate is the actual title policy, which means
Okay.
it's a set rate, so it can't be changed. They all,
Right.
it's across the board. What is not across the board are the fees that the title companies charge. So you can either ask around and get, I'm seeing, like average is probably $450 per side. However, I have seen title companies charge $800 to a buyer that's obtaining a loan, especially if it's FHA. So I think it really depends. And again, that is something, but it's always been like that. In my whole, the past 20 some years I've been in business, it's always two fees, it used to be, probably like 300 or something like that, or, 250, but, now I would say the average is 450. Is everyone else seeing that on their closing?
No, Karen, I was thinking, I wonder if that can be, we should ask Anthony this. Anthony owns the title company that we affiliate with. If there can be a contingency written into the contract for a fee not to exceed amount. Because those fees are going to vary, Rachel. The title companies are making them up depending, and you would think, I understand that there's a lot more work dealing with a buyer that's getting a loan, but still, a cash buyer, it's a fairly simple transaction on the buyer side. Especially if it's cash, it's still the same amount of work on the list on the selling side. But yeah, Karen's seen, and I've seen some $500 to $800 per side. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, to me, that's, if I see something, if I'm representing a buyer and I see it come across and it's $800, I will call the title company and say something. I'm not going to say, I'm not saying that I'm successful, but I will voice my opinion. Because to me, it's gouging, it's price gouging. A title company that I used 5 years ago, which will not be named, jumped their prices from 400 to 800 in like a couple months, because of the market was bad. And I was very upset about that because I used them religiously. And so I changed companies, because I don't feel that, if my seller is going to choose a title company, and let's face it, our sellers rely on us to choose the title company, right? So it's really on us to understand what those fees are, and let the seller know and explain them. And also if my listing and my seller's picking the title company, do I really want the buyer to be gouged by $800? No, I don't. No, because think about it. How many times you're representing a buyer and you tell them what their fees are going to be, what their closing fee is going to be? You don't. Right. You just don't, the lender, even though they do a closing disclosure for costs, and they have to do that within the first 3 days or something like that of application. I don't know that they know I don't know what they charge or what they put as an estimate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, Mary.
Can you hear me? I wasn't sure if I was on mute or not. Okay. I just found this out recently, and you guys probably already know this, but the title company that I usually do use, they will give a VA discount. So I have two right now that the title company is giving a discount on those fees because they're both VAs.
I love that.
Yeah. So if you ask, sometimes they will. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And as buyer's agents, it doesn't hurt to ask. Hey, can you do a little better on this, do you think? And I think most times that the title company wants to work with you because they want your business.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty last minute because the Friday closing was pushed and no one saw the Alta statement until we did a walkthrough. So it was a shocking. So it was, I couldn't explain further because it's 500 charge on the seller, 500 charge on the buyer. And that was, otherwise we had to push for a Monday closing. They wanted to have the weekend to move. So, I didn't say much. I just say that's the norm because
It's customary, Rachel. That does everyone agree about 500 is about customary? I mean, I don't think that's out of order. I would say 800 might be.
Yeah, they actually charge buyer 575 and charge the seller 500.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, if they
On a cash.
argue about that, I probably have to call her and just to see why it's not half and half at this point. But they're okay with it because seller's paying for it, most of the title insurance besides the loan amount. So they're happy with. They're just happy that the deal was closed on Friday on time.
Very good.
But I just wasn't sure. I thought it should be split even on the settlement charges.
Another reason why I tell everyone, guys, when you're filling out a contract, don't make your closing date on a Monday or Friday. Make your life simple. Simplify your life and try not to close, especially a Friday before a holiday weekend. Because I guarantee you, you're gonna get bit one of these days, and something's gonna happen, where it's gonna be Friday and you're not gonna close, and your buyer's stuff is on a moving truck and they've got it being delivered on Saturday and the utilities are changed over or shut off. So that's just my 2 cents.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a comment or question or anything we can solve for you, or please, anybody?
So has anyone, I have more questions. Has anyone worked with new constructions to be built, loan, new construction to perm, just knowing that I have a builder that the cost is extremely high now because we kind of quoted him how much it would go for now. He said just the cost alone for each house was close to 400,000 already. I wasn't sure what other people's experience with new constructions around us. So like the price is gonna change, but we don't know. He anticipated to get it finished by December, but I can't really quote him because we quoted him around the 450. Now he's not making enough money. So we have to wait until the market and then do another comparison before we put on the market. So I just wasn't sure how would you guys.
I mean, because of how do you know what wood and windows is going to be in a year or two from now when
Right.
everything's ready? Yeah, Karen, you've probably got a little
Mary,
more.
well, Mary, unmute yourself. She's the new construction expert here.
Oh,
She's
wow. I don't know that I'm an expert. I'm
well,
not
you've
exactly
had
sure.
several recently. right?
Yeah, I mean, basically, once you're under contract, that's the price. But most of them have seen equity by the time they move in. This is going to be a little different because if the market's changing, then, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen then. But I know I just talked to 2 builders and they're still have waiting lists. So I don't know that it's going to change that much at this point.
But Mary, with custom builders and maybe not so much the Lennars or the DR Hortons of the world, don't they have some type of verbiage in their contract of an escalation in building costs that could be added to the contract price?
Well, I have one under contract right now, and there was nothing. No, this is the price. Now, I'm sure there's some custom builders out there and it's different, but right now I haven't seen it. And that just went under contract a few weeks ago. So I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that.
Rachel, what specifically, I don't know that I'm clear on what your actual question was. Your question was, is the price going to increase?
If we're trying to advertise, try to get people to buy it before it's completed. So
okay.
now, I'm finding out some new construction loan to perm loan officers. And so we try to advertise it so we can have a closing, but I'm just hearing from the builder that since the price has been increased so much, so I'm not sure how to go about that stage because we're advertising for this price. And now he got a different quote. You know, by the time he finished, he said, I can't sell it at this price because I want to sell it for more since all the material costs so much.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, you know, try to see if anyone have this kind of situation could share. Otherwise, you know, like, I don't want to advertise for this amount, what kind of featuring and all that. And then by the time they close and, you know, the builder is like, well, I built the whole thing, costs more now. Can we put some kind of language into, like, I don't know that it's going to fly with any buyer because, you know, they want a set price. They're waiting for the house to be built, what style. By the end of the year, if he want to increase the price, you know, I don't know how to.
I would think, you know, are you listing the property in MLS?
No, not yet. We're talking about it to
Okay.
go this
Well,
route.
if you get to that point, I definitely put something in the realtor remarks, you know, saying that pricing may vary based on, you know, something very generic, you know, on the cost of building supplies. But I would think the contract is going to have some verbiage in there as well, because some projects may take years, you know, to build, depending on some will be short term. But I would think MLS has some type of disclosure in there saying pricing may vary, etc., and then in the contract as well. And look, the buyer's it's got to be fair to the buyer too, where the buyer would have the right to cancel should costs exceed certain percentages or whatever. Because again, why would a buyer go under contract with a property for a future purchase when they really don't know what the bottom line is?
There are some builders that are doing that.
Yeah.
They aren't putting the final price and say it can increase. I think it's up to a certain percentage though,
right,
that it can't exceed. But just over the weekend, I mean, lumber prices are down. So I'm not sure, you know, other things obviously are going to go up, but lumber's coming down quite a bit.
good to know. Mm-hmm.
That's good to
Thank
know.
you for that info.
Mhm.
Karen, any thoughts? I got a few comments that I want to throw out there so that we can just give some, keep these things in the back of your mind, because I'm sure we've all been there. And I started the meeting when a few of you weren't on yet about assuming nothing with my hot tub situation. Okay. But as for wherever you are in your career, you know, pay attention to detail, assume nothing. You know, if somebody wants to take something in the home, you know, if the sellers are taking it, make sure you're excluding it from the contract. If the buyers don't want it, exclude it from the contract, and know your timeframes. Okay, know your timeframes are extremely important when it comes to effective date. It's probably one of the most common questions I get from my colleagues, and including myself, where I recently goofed on a effective date. And there was a holiday involved, and you know, some other personal things that I was taking my mom back and forth to the hospital, so I missed a date. It was a very valuable, expensive mistake. It was $6,000 out of my pocket at an upcoming commission. I thought I did the right thing by doing that, but at the same time, assume nothing. Make sure you write it on the contract. If it's not on the contract, it's not enforceable. And know your dates, know what the effective date is, and know what dates, etc., your time frames end on. Go ahead, Colleen.
Does anybody have any kind of form with the timeline of like when their inspection period ends and
we certainly can create that. That's certainly, I mean, I get that a lot when I deal with an agent who's using a transaction coordinator. They send me over this letter saying,
right,
the date is, loan approval date is, its inspection time frame ends on. Yeah.
mine doesn't do that. My transaction coordinator.
No, I think that it's a nice thing. And Karen and I were in a class last week where it was brilliant because they've got a calendar, you know what I mean? And the calendar, basically, it was blank calendars, but the idea was to have that calendar in front of you and have those dates written on there. But I'll work on that, Colleen, see if we can come up with something, you know, yeah.
I'm sorry. I like that idea because, you know, I mean, there's more dates that have to be met than I think we normally think of. There's something in the contract that says they've got 20 days to verify flood. Does everyone do that? I don't. I never do that.
Right.
I mean, most times if it's obviously if it's in an X flood, but I think if you're going to give value and put yourself above another agent, say to the Mr. Buyer, here's your timeline. I understand that you're not getting flood, but if you did want to get it, and if it was going to be something that would affect you purchasing the contract, here's your time frame. You got this many days to get that done. And so I think John and I, we'll have that ready for next Monday. We'll put together every single date on a contract that has to be met and show you how to, well, most of you probably know, but show you how to meet that date, how to add it. Because I think a lot of us, you could use a refresher on that probably.
Aaron, not to
That'd be
correct
great.
you, but we're going to be at shareholders next Monday.
Oh, sorry.
Want
I
to do it
forgot.
from Orlando?
We could, sure. I don't know what we have on Monday morning, but we could
Well,
do it for Orlando.
We'll
Absolutely.
plan on it, everyone, and then and if not, we'll let you know. But we're at a shareholders event next week. But I think it's a great idea, Colleen. If you had a standard form, it's almost like a fax cover sheet with, that's on top of the contract with all the terms and all the dates in there, so that you and the other agent are on the same page. I think it's extremely important. Effective date is, and from there, all the other dates will fall into place. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, to have in each file for each buyer or seller. Yeah, be helpful.
I think it's a wonderful thing. I don't do it. And I think I'm going to start doing it again. I did it a long time ago, but I got out of the habit with the market.
Well, I think with the market changing the way it is, where almost every transaction is closing, or at least a high percentage of it for the last 6 months, not a year or so, things have changed a little bit because maybe things aren't appraising and buyers are not coming to the table with the cash that they wanted to 2 months ago. Yeah, we'll come up with that. Okay, good idea.
And I think it's important if you're representing the seller, the buyer, or both. I think you or your transaction coordinator or someone should send them a timeline of their events.
Right. Very good.
Yeah.
Jenny, you were quiet today. Any comments before we end this meeting? No? There you go.
Not really.
Okay.
I think, was it you, Mary, last week or no, maybe it was Colleen. I can't remember which one of you guys. I think it was no, I can't remember who it was. Somebody told about their property. So I got an investment property in Safety Harbor, if anybody has any investors.
Oh,
awesome.
good for you.
Awesome. Where is it? Is it in MLS yet?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a fixer upper or tear it down and build a new home.
Well, I
Which
have
is on the market for?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Karen.
Maria Crespo lives in Safety Harbor and she flips homes. So you should reach out to her.
What's her name?
Maria Crespo. I'll put it in the chat. her
Okay.
number. Yeah.
Thank
Matter of
you.
fact, because she just flipped one and it's under contract. So she might be looking for another one.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of fixer uppers lately, and I love some of the descriptions in the realtor remarks. Bring your imagination. Bring your sledgehammer and imagination. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, what's the price range on that one?
It's listed at 300.
300 for a 3-2?
No, it's
It's
I'll
two-
search it.
50 square feet.
it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, but it's actually the sellers did take out a wall, so they made it 1 big bedroom.
Okay,
But tax records, and it used to be a 2-bedroom.
okay.
But it's Safety Harbor.
Safety Harbor. It's got a pool. Of course, the pool's green.
Okay, all right. Well, I have a client in Safety Harbor and they don't mind fixing up, so
Wonderful.
I'll check it out.
There's two leads for you right there.
There you go.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Crystal, you've been quiet. Anything and anything you want to share? Any challenges that you're having?
Not really. Other than be careful, there's a lot of scams going on.
Oh yeah, you know what? Let's talk about that. I forgot about that.
So was that a scam on yours?
So Crystal's Crystal's up north of us. So she's in an area where there's a lot of vacant land and people that own the land and live out of town. So tell us your story real quick, Crystal.
All right, well, I got a referral from the workplace and I called, they talked over the phone, let me know, you know, their opinion on the price. The CMA came out at like 60 grand. They wanted to go down to 40. So I mean that right there, they wanted
Red
to
flag number one.
after that, they wanted to communicate through text message. So that's another red flag. They want to answer your phone calls or questions about any identification verification. So there's another flag.
So Crystal, so that we're all clear on this, this was a seller
Yeah,
that reached out to you to sell their property and they wanted to sell it for less than what it was worth.
yes.
Okay.
Well, can I interject one thing? This was a referral from another agent
Mhm.
Yeah.
in her
Oh.
company that she knew that, you know, was an acquaintance. So this was a referral.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, so I reached out to Nicole at the title company. She did a title search. They've owned the land since '86. They're in the Netherlands. So that's a good target. It's going on all around Citrus County. So be aware. I actually had another agent from Remax reach out to me because they're experiencing it a lot also.
Brilliant. And we should all do that. When we see something that's not right, let our colleagues know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we see that on the market again, we should reach out to the listing agent, because I tell you what, it really was that Remax agent that had the courtesy to text Crystal that prompted Crystal to call me. And I said, you know what? Let's get the title company involved. Let's do a title search.
Mhm.
Let's see who the real owner is. And then Crystal wrote is going to write a note to the owner and mail it to them to make them aware of the situation.
Yeah, I can get a real listing.
Yeah, maybe you could get a real listing, because it was under contract. She got a contract on it, right, Crystal? Like right away?
We got an offer the next morning, yeah.
Yeah.
But I let the buyer's agent know, you know, there's a lot going on, so.
So how did you finally end it with that, with the scam artist? Like what was, you know, tell us what you did. What?
I basically, I was calling them. I stopped text messaging them because I don't want to, you know, keep going with the text messages. So I told them to give me a call. They text me back and asked me what I wanted because they're too busy to answer their phone. So I kind of just, you know, okay, well, when you do have the time, let me know. And I just haven't heard or responded back.
Yeah. So important Zooms, face-to-face Zoom, if they're out of the area, you know, send me your driver's license, anything like that. But yeah.
2 identification.
What's that?
2 forms of identification, because these scammers are getting really tech savvy. I mean, they even somehow, a well-known title company in Citrus County, they were affiliated with. So they're somehow figuring out how to get, you know, the wiring transfers and the signatures signed off. I don't know how.
I've got a quick story if you guys want to hear it. So Nicole at Keystone Title, who's my closer, she's like, we were talking about this scam with Crystal, and she's like, Karen, she's like, I got to tell you a story. She's like, I have a closing coming up. The seller emailed me and said, hey, I've got a new payoff on my loan. I'm going to send you instructions. And Nicole's like, okay, that's kind of odd, but all right. So Nicole gets an email with instructions from the seller, and she prints those instructions with the new payoff from their lender, and she compares it to the one she got, previously, and everything is the same except the wire instructions.
Oh,
So
my
Nicole's
goodness.
like, ding, calls the seller. The seller's like, I haven't sent you anything. But the seller was out of the country. She must have used the Wi-Fi in her travels at the airport, at the hotel or somewhere on her emails. A scammer intercepted that email, saw the email between Nicole and her as far as the closing and wiring instructions and things like that. And that's how Nicole thinks it happened. So it's getting a lot worse, and it's going to continue. So just be aware. Be aware.
Thank God for Nicole being savvy and in the business long enough to be
Oh,
aware.
yeah. Well, and that's just it. I mean, what if it was a title company that didn't catch it? What if they
Yeah.
didn't, because they're busy and, let's face it, guys, there's
Mhm.
some not so good title agents out there,
Yeah.
nothing against anyone, but I mean, just.
But then again, I believe, wouldn't the title insurance help with that or no?
No.
I
No?
don't think so. It has nothing to, it's them sending, I think the title company would have to eat it myself.
Title insurance is just guaranteeing the buyers getting free and clear title. It's got nothing to do, that'd be more of an E&O thing with the title company.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
'Cause they're
wiring-
paying off,
yeah,
they
they're
paid
wiring
off the
money to
loan.
the wrong person. That's on them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's
All
almost
right.
that time, kids. Thank you. And Christina, thanks for being our guest host this morning. And I hope you can take advantage of that idea, and we will let everybody know if we're going to do this next Monday morning, because again, we're going to be at a shareholder event in Orlando. But
Yeah, it might be a little challenging. I'm thinking maybe we should let's just, because I don't want to say yes and then next Monday come along and we're not prepared. So let's just say the next one is going to be June 27th.
Sounds
And we'll send emails out.
I'm going to do that from Buffalo, New York.
You could then go to the Olean Cutco factory.
There
It's
you
right near
go.
Buffalo.
Wonderful. Taking mom.
Oh, interesting.
Good. Christina, thank you again, everybody. Ladies, thank you. Gentlemen, Richard. And I'll save this. If you want a copy of it, I'll send it to you, and we'll put it up on the Collaboration Cafe as well. Right. Karen, I'll see you in a little bit.
Thanks.
Have
Bye,
a
guys.
great day.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.